2020s. It's not about growing your dependence on us or any technology or any tech vendor community. It's helping you all build independence when it comes to digital technology. That's our mission. And so I wanted to use the rest of my time just talking about some of the top trends. In fact, what we are learning, what we are seeing, the pride that I see many of you are taking in that tech intensity that you're building. Let's start with personalization. This, in some sense, is at the tip of the spear of how digital capability can shape what retail of the future looks like. The case for it is pretty straightforward. In fact, today, when you think about e-commerce, 30% of e-commerce sales are happening because of recommendations. And it's always going to keep increasing. It's a secular growth number because 80% of the consumers expect you to offer them personalized things. So that means you need to be able to take that data asset, not the silos, all of the data, everything you see, and then serve your customers. That's the difference, by the way, of an AI company is one where it's not about any data in one system. Your ability to take all the data across all of the systems, from supply chain to merchandising, to drive even something like an online recommendation engine. And that's what's going to define it. We see it with Xbox, for example. The console, that's the merchandising sort of front end for us. And we have a technology based on reinforcement learning that is learning every day, all the time. In real time, we have a model per user. There's a reward function. Every time somebody clicks on something, the reward function changes. The reward function then goes and updates the model. The model then changes the merchandising. And by the way, this is all happening in near real time. This is not about some batch processing that happens at the end of the day. That core engine is what's driving the feature set. That is all of the signals of data, whether we check what device you're on, what games you've played, what you have bought, what your friends are doing. All of that is playing a part in driving the recommendation engine. Starbucks, you know, Starbucks is the coffee company that cares about coffee, cares about its experience. They have built their own AI technology. It's called Deep Brew. I love the name. I mean, think about it. It stands for coffee and it stands for AI. And that's what they've done. And they built this again using reinforcement learning. It's driving their recommendation engine in the Starbucks app. It's something that they're going to use across multi-channels. Tomorrow you're going to hear from Kevin Johnson from Starbucks. But Starbucks is not just using AI for recommendations. They're using AI to even make it possible for every Starbucks partner in the stores to be able to do more of what they do best, which is serve their customers. And so you'll hear so much more from Starbucks about their own AI capability. This is perhaps one of the best examples of a company building their own AI and their own tech capability. Walgreens is another example. I mean, something like 78% of the United States population is within 5 miles of a Walgreens. And 8 million customers daily walk into a Walgreens counting on having all of the products that they need. Now, this is a matching problem as well. So you need to be able to ensure that on the shelf are the products these 8 million people who come into your store need. And it's going to be different depending on which Walgreens you walk into. How do you do that? That demand sensing is, again, a matching problem that is being driven by AI. The next pillar I want to talk about is anywhere commerce, omnichannel commerce, the ability for you to be able to use all of these channels effectively is key, and in fact, perhaps this last holiday season reinforced it for all of us. In fact, the data points here again are clear. 75% of the shopping may be happening online, but the pickups are happening offline. And in fact, the lifetime value of a customer who experiences greatness on that omnichannel experience is 1.6 times. So the expectation of anybody today has changed, where they really want that seamless experience. And again, even in Microsoft stores themselves, we have that in something like 15% of the sales this holiday season for us were driven by online and pickup in store. But the key thing though is it's not just about pickup in store. The store experience is extending in a variety of ways. In our case, for example, we're able to take the people who work in our stores and really match their skills, their time availability, depending on the traffic in the store, to doing many, many more things. For example, we have training sessions even for our largest customers who are close to the store around our enterprise products. We're selling to small businesses. In fact, many of our store specialists are even making telesales calls from the stores because they have the expertise. All of this is getting coordinated through our Dynamics 365 system, that ability to, again, take the people, the data, and match the consumer demand to it. Now, of course, Walmart is doing this at scale, and we're learning so much from them. 275 million customers per week, 85% of the US population shops at Walmart. And they have built, again, on top of Azure, their own IoT cloud platform, as well as the location services for their mobile app. So think about this. What they've done is your ability to order on your mobile app, and then the IoT process, or the entire process of being able to sort of really do the fulfillment of the order, is one seamless experience. You place the order, the app, in fact, you can, through geofencing, sense when the customer is about to come to the store to pick up. That then triggers the entire process to get the order ready, and the handoff is seamless, right? That's the expectation. It's not about being able to place an order offline, but the point is, can you make it all seamless? And that's what Walmart's doing at scale, and it's just amazing to see that. Now, another way of thinking about retail is take the physical retail itself, and you see this with Marks and Spencer's, and essentially embed computing. Just like Walmart did with IoT, what if you sort of took the entire store and effectively thought of it as a computer? You kind of do that with your website. You do that with your mobile app. What if the physical space itself had all of the computing signal, all of the analytical signal that you now have on your website, on your mobile app? And that's what Marks and Spencer's in the UK has done with their store, where they're able to track everything that's happening. They're able to measure the length of the checkout in real time. They're able to check the temperature of the meat cooler in real time. And it's just not about being able to see these things, but to take action. Data is only useful if you, in real time or near real time, can predict something better, can automate something better, you can gain an insight. Those are the outcomes that you want to drive with data. That's the true measure of your success with data, and that's what Marks and Spencer's is doing. We also see the experience of retail being changed because of how computing is getting used. I mean, a great example of this is Canada Goose. And this, people describe this as retailtainment. You can walk into the Canada Goose store, you will have an inventory, which is basically the entire inventory, but just one of everything. And so the ability for you to walk into this place, experience the weather, or in fact, you try out what you want, and then order it and have it delivered the same day. Because what they've done is they've seamlessly integrated their manufacturing, wholesale, retail operations using, again, in this case, Dynamics 365, but the most important thing is they've thought through their competitive advantage of how the experience in the store with this operational backbone that they've built can change retail. Another example of this is Netuzzi, a fashion furnishing store out of Italy. In fact, they have a store right here in New York, where they have the entire catalog available virtually. And the beauty of what they're doing is they're using mixed reality and augmented reality to change what even the retail experience looks like, because their ability to be able to say, you bring your house into the store, and in fact, you can take the store into your house. So the ability for you to change what your expectations are in terms of inventory availability, how you design what you want and configure what you want, and then place it where you want before you even decide to buy, is changing. The next trend I want to talk about is perhaps one of the biggest strategic decisions that all of us collectively will have to make. It's digital commerce marketing. Let's face it, today when you look at online advertising, it's a monopoly, oligopoly, pick your word. The concentration is clear, the digital networks are clear. You know, there's debt, there's taxes, and there's ever-increasing online advertising spend. There is not much we can do about the first two. But depending on the decisions we make now, there is something we can do about the number three. We have to change the dynamics here. And you have to change the dynamics here. Because you have the real data here. You have, as retailers, the most valuable asset, which is commercial intent and consumer behavior data. The question is, how can you convert that through your marketing efforts into effectively new online advertising channels for every brand, every supplier? This, to me, is perhaps what's going to reshape retail business models. And that's why we built Promote IQ. Now, Promote IQ, think of it as an auction engine, advertising and marketing engine. It's effectively a commodity white label technology which we want to give each and every retailer here. And we see this, B&H, Kohl's, Kroger's, Office Depot, Auto Group are all using this. But to build your own online advertising business, your own digital commerce business. Home Depot is a great example of this. If you look at Home Depot, it's the 5th largest e-commerce site in the United States, 2 billion annual visitors. They are now using this engine to build effectively their own digital commerce marketing. Digital commerce marketing does three things. One is for every brand and supplier who's tired of dealing with these online channels, can now work with you in deep partnership. I mean, when was the last time you felt that partnership as a big spender in one of these concentrated online channels worked for you? Think about all of these folks working with you, tuning their campaigns, tuning their spend to be able to get more effectiveness. Second, for you, this is going to be the highest gross margin business model across what you do. And you need it. Because guess what? Consumer expectations are only increasing. So you can be running super fast, doing all of this capital spend, operating expense spend, doing amazing things. But if all you're doing is allocating to more online advertising elsewhere, but not creating a new revenue stream, you will not have the gross margin to meet the needs of your customers. And so that's one of the reasons why this is so important for you, is to regain your own prowess around how you think about marketing and advertising units within the experience. In the case of Home Depot, in the product pages, the ad unit has great engagement. In fact, increases the engagement of the product page. So the consumer benefits, right? So this is about win-win-win, which is the consumer benefits, you create new gross margin, the people who are the suppliers and the brands are happier. Guess what? Because they now have more channels to allocate their ad dollars, and it's not as if they're going to have to only allocate it to only one or two channels, which have ever-increasing prices. So this, to me, is a super important initiative, and also I think thinking through where your data goes. This is the way for you to protect so that your data just doesn't get leaked out. Remember, in an AI world, people don't even need to see your data to steal it. Just curve fitting on your data, they can take out all the value. And so some of the things you have to watch for in a world where there are some of the biggest aggregators also happen to be technology vendors, you have to ask yourself the question, whom can you trust in the world going forward. And if you really don't have that transparency, I think the retail dynamics can be very, very tough. Now, the last trend I want to talk about is about empowering employees. Ultimately, the art of retail still comes down to how do the people who work for you in your stores, even in your online operations, are able to drive the decisions. So putting the right insights, data in their hands, empowering them is going to make a difference. And in fact, you can see, it's perhaps the highest ROI thing you could do, because what happens is you increase the conversion rate by 15% and you improve the satisfaction by 10%. I want to close where I started. You know, we're all mostly consumer economies all over the world, and it is all being shaped by the decisions you all as retailers make. And in an increasingly digital world, it's going to come down to one thing and one thing alone: your own tech intensity, your own independence when it comes to digital technologies. And our mission is to ensure that we empower you to build that independence so that you can thrive in the 2020s and beyond. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic NRF.